I'm half night elf, you jerk, Xanna said as Henry climbed on her back like a monkey and looked at the back of her neck. She folded her arms over her chest and looked away from him and glanced at Finero through the corner of her eye. He looked speechless, and that he was rethinking about their whole flirting thing. Because as unintentional as it is, apparently he's softly prejudiced because he doesn't want to date any alliance and strictly horde only. I mean, everybody's got their type. Khadga's eyes widened. You're half night elf, Xanna repeated. You gonna sue me now? Khadga was speechless. He didn't know if he should respect Xanna and let Finero flirt with her all he wanted, or if he should hate her and treat her like all of the other filthy horde in the world, and maybe hook Finero up with some random girl at the soda parlor. At least he's upfront about his prejudice.
Absolutely amazing,
Henry said. Izzy sighed and grabbed a bat. Let me take control, cause I'm Freddy Krueger and this is gonna go into the real world with me.
Young lady.
Xanna.
Pardon?
My name is Xanna.
Oh yes, Xanna. Did you know that you had a mark on the back of your neck?
Crazy Bald Gnome say what? A mark? Xanna asked as everyone surrounded the back of her neck. Okay, feeling a bit uncomfortable. You're telling me, Izzy said as she stared at Henry's giant gnome eyes.
Yes, a mark.
Let me see, Cosmo and Simon said. Cosmo picked Simon up and they joined the group and looked at the mark. Son, you never told me that you got a tattoo. Henry looked at Cosmo.
Great Scott, you can speak Alliance too?
They all can. I taught them how, Xanna said.
You can teach?
Henry asked.
Yes, we can also read, breathe, and talk at the same time,
Dethium said.
Amazing, ain't it? Quite.
Henry nodded and looked back at the mark. Dethium began to pull out a dagger, but Makoki stopped her. I am way more on the ship for Makoki and Dethium than I am for Khadga and Dethium. What's the mark look like? Xanna asked. It looks like a raindrop with a little circle under it, Cosmo answered. Xanna thought of the mark. It led to thinking of all the times she went to the lake in Eversong Forest to go cry. It's not a raindrop, it's a teardrop, she thought. That's clearly self-projection. She has no physical control over what it looks like. Izzy placed a hand on her chin. How have I not noticed this mark at all? I guess because she never looked at Xanna's neck. Xanna was saying in her mind, but let out a little squeal when someone had touched the back of her neck. Cold hands! Sorry, Finero said and took his hand away from the mark. Son, you have to tell me where you got this tattoo. And after that, get rid of the tattoo. No son of mine is going to walk around with a tattoo on any body part just so silly boys can stare at said body part. It's not a tattoo, and even if it was, who cares? It's just on the back of my neck. Sure, it starts out on the back of the neck, but soon it'll be the shoulder, then the chest, then the stomach, then the leg, the thigh, and the next thing you know, you go to a club, end up talking to this guy named Jerry, going to the Silvermoon City Spa, somehow getting your apple juice spiked, and getting your heart broken by the only tree I'll ever love. Everyone slowly turned their heads to look at Cosmo. So I've heard. Izzy slowly reached up to grab her head. I think I have a tumor. We'll fix your cancer later. Right now we have to get this group away from my neck, get Cosmo some therapy and maybe a relationship specialist, get our disguises, go to Stormwind, look around, and marry Finero! Izzy grabbed her ice pack. Yeah, good luck with that, she said and laid down on the bed in Xanna's mind. Aw, you're not gonna help? Xanna asked with a sad puppy dog face. Head still hurts from that damn tree branch. Xanna was about to beg Izzy to get over her headache and help her live happily ever after with Finero. Instead of thinking about how this was the first headache Izzy had ever received and that it was not good, when someone touched her back. She let out a little squeal. She knew it wasn't Finero's hand this time. Who's touching my back? Sorry, Moxa said and took his hand away. Thought I saw something crawl up your back. Oh, yeah, something did, and it was called your hand. Stop being stupid. He was just making sure that someone else is now touching my back and is slowly rubbing it, and who is it? Izzy looked up to see who it was. Her eyes widened, then she burst out into laughter. Well, that can't be good, Xanna quietly sighed. Who's rubbing my back? Everyone looked down to see a blue hand on Xanna's back. Then they looked at the person's face. What? I'm just making sure she has a spine, Khadga said. Xanna mentally shook her head and placed her face in her right hand. Have I ever mentioned anything about how these people are? Xanna punched Izzy's forehead with her left hand. Shut it, she said as Izzy twitched on the ground. It's more of convulsing. This is gonna be a long, long trip. Just like this fanfiction.